we must make sure we look at all this and we take care of all this before we make the purchase. It is the purchase price that brings you better profit. After the previous video that I shared the new generation and the old generation layout, there is a reader who actually PM me asking me, hey Gary, is really choosing the correct layout so important? Today I'm going to share some example and you can see that really, by choosing wrong layout, it might make a huge difference at the end day, at the end result, at the end profit. So let's have a look at it together. Today we are going to look at a big development. You can see that this is come with multiple facing. They are really big. I think 1,000 over units. To protect the privacy of the owners inside, I think I will not say which development is this. If you really know which development, keep it to yourself. Don't need to really type in the comment or anything to say out. Okay, thank you so much. So today we are going to choose two units as an example. Then from there you can see a big differences. So which are the unit? First is 57, second is 38. 57 and 38. Oh, you can see 57 come with what? A very nice pool view right in front of him. A very nice pool view right in front of him. Then the second one come with what? An entrance view. This is the main entrance. 38, you get to see the whole entrance in front of you. So usually, which view does people always advise you to buy? Can I say, is it true that it's always the pool view? So can I say most people will just say that pool view is always a better view? Okay, good. So now let's make a guess. Which unit actually give you a higher profit? So from here you can see uniformly stack 38, which is the main entrance facing, are performing much better. You can see I sort by profit, so are performing much better here. So they are 300 over 1,000 all the way. I think these are all 300 over 1,000. So the next one, 57, uniformly also what? They are all at the lower tier. So this, what I do with this, I actually sort by these two stacks, then look at the most profitable transaction. So this is how I get this chart. So you can see the main entrance facing, which is 38, is actually making more profit, while the other one, 57, is actually making a lot lower profit. Can be a big difference of 350,000 and 120,000. This is what? 230 over 1,000 differences. 230 over 1,000 differences, and buy at almost the same date. Okay, sell 1 year later, 18 July and 17 July. So what actually happened? So most people always say that when we want to buy unit, we have to buy pool view. So that most people prefer pool view, and it can give you better profit. But what actually happens here? Why the pool view are not performing as well compared to the main entrance view? Okay, so now we look at it together. Both are 3-room. Usually people buy 3-room. Are they buying for own stay or investment? Can I say majority people buy 3-room is for own stay? You don't really see people that I buy a 3-room for investment. Most of the time it will be for stay. So for investment, people always go for what? 1 or 2 bedroom. Correct? So 3-room is for stay. So now let me ask you another question. When it comes to staying, is view more important or the internal layout more important? I think most of the people will say what? The internal layout. And that is why you see this is a bigger unit, this is a smaller unit. That's why it makes a little bit more profit. But not only that, we need to go and have a look at what is the differences in these two layouts. Come, let's have a look at it together. So now you can see there are two different layouts. One is 57, one is 38. What is the differences? First thing you notice when you come into the main entrance, usually this L shape, I can see that even the best ID, right, the most they do is build one shoe right here. So ultimately this space, right, is always wasted. And you can see that this stack 57 has a much longer wall compared to 38. This walkway is a lot bigger compared to this one. This is first point. Second thing, we look at the kitchen. whenever we say we are buying 3 room for own stay, right, kitchen, when it's a bit too small, people will not be as comfortable lah. So this is a small square kitchen, whereas this is a longish kitchen. So this one is normal and this one is a little bit compromised. So whenever people are compromised, they will not have the fall in love element, and that is when people are not as willing to pay. Further up, we see a very, very small detail. If you notice this small little space, this is what? This is the dining area wall. This is much longer. So what does this tell you? This will tell you that how big overall this space is, because if this is longer, this will be a lot bigger. Compared to this one, it will be slightly smaller. The moment you enter, imagine the first view you see is, why this place so small, versus, wow, this is not bad. So this is what? This is all first impression that makes your next buyer willing to pay. Not only that, you can see here, come with an orange rectangle, and here don't have. What is this? Utility. So Stack 38 comes with a utility, and I think it's really a good thing. For a 3 bedroom for family to stay, people still need to store some luggage or maybe sometimes helpers. So this is also a very important element that this one don't have, that actually make people not as willing to pay, even though you have a nicer view. And one last thing, you notice the purple color. So this is what? A single bed, whereas here is all queen size bed. So this means that the room will be compromised. This is slightly bigger, this is slightly smaller. Okay, so this one is what? This is really that shows that layout make a big difference in the overall profit, because layout is something that the resale buyer can see, can feel, and they can visualize. So these are all very important elements that when we are in the show flat, we must make sure we look at all this and we take care of all this before we make the purchase. You can see a big difference here. Buying at same day, one make 180, one make 120, while the other one can make 350, 340. So it is really a big difference if you don't know how to choose the correct layout. Now, big question is this layout that totally cannot buy? Because this is a lot better. Let's have a look at it together. So this is not true. You see that these are all the smaller unit, 893, 872. The differences is only the balcony. Not really true that all these units are not making profit. There are people who make 200 over 1,000 also. Now let's have a look at what kind of unit actually make better profit from the smaller unit. You can see I see quite a number of 58, 39. So let's have a look at it together. What kind of units are all this? So here, 58. So it is somewhere here. I open up the map. You can see I do a lot of sensor. Why is it so? Because I just want to make sure that privacy is protected. I don't want to really badmouth people to affect other people's selling price. Okay, selling process. So you can see this is block 31, block 31. So 58, is it a very good unit? I will say that not really. First thing, face the road. Second thing, HDB. Although a little bit of distance, but nothing fancy. So how come they are the one that make more money? 39 is here. 39 slightly better. Will be somewhere here, look a lot further distant. But are they really the best unit? They are not, because 57 is here. They are looking at the pool. So why 58 actually make more money than 57? Okay, so you can see there is one very common thing when I sort by purchase price instead of per square foot. Okay, they are all lower per square foot. They are all lower per square foot, and you can see 48, 39, 58 is here. Can you see that a lot of 58 is here? So what makes them make more money than the pool view? I must say maybe is the purchase price. You can see that the lower the price, the safer you can get, and you get to see here a lot more people are making slightly better profit. Of course, it's not all, because below you can still see people making 200 over 1,000, but I always talk about probability. What is the chances of how do we actually squeeze in here to enjoy good profit? It is the purchase price. It is the purchase price that bring you better profit. From the example, you can see that buying into a development, phasing, yes, might be very important, but actually it is not the most important. Layout plays a more important role in order to make a purchase right. Of course, if you know when we are buying similar layout, then maybe pricing plays another important role and not phasing. So this is something that we must really be careful about when we are buying a property. Of course, it comes with a lot of experience to understand who is that one person that is going to pay for your future house, for your future selling. Of course, it's also very important, by choosing the correct development, correct unit, correct price, we must always understand one very important thing is who is our next purchaser. Understanding the demographic of our next purchaser will make a huge impact on the end result. Why is it so? Imagine today we are talking about a outskirt development, so people don't mind looking at the main entrance. But if you are talking about Marina Bay, maybe having the best view is the point that people are most willing to pay. So do be careful if you are buying something, you can always drop me a PM, then we can always look at it together to find out whether your purchase, the one that you have in mind, is it really worth buying and are you really protected over it? Because understanding the demographic comes with a lot of experience, understanding who is going to buy from you in future, who is the one that is most willing to pay will make a huge difference at the end of the day by choosing the correct unit. Okay, that's all for today. I will see you all real soon. Bye bye.